It's our largest state, but the most sparsely populated, which is also true of the Alaska United Methodist Conference. There are less than 30 churches spread over 586,000 square miles in one of the most beautiful places on earth.
People are proud to be Alaskans. The population of Alaska is really diverse. In Anchorage alone, there's 102 languages spoken in the Anchorage School District. So that tells you how diverse it is. And yeah, so we still carry that frontier mentality. And so you hear a lot the phrase, well, this is Alaska, we do things differently here.
And it was that frontier mentality that marked the origins of the conference. In 1886, the Women's Home Missionary Society helped send John and Ethelda Carr to minister at Unga in the Aleutian Archipelago. But things really kicked into high gear with the discovery of gold. In 1897, the Klondike Gold Rush had brought thousands of prospectors to the region, and more missionaries came to preach to the mostly Scandinavian miners. Methodist churches began to crop up in towns like Skagway, Ketchikan, and Seward. More were added over time, and 1904 saw the first annual meeting of the Alaska Mission. By 1958, a council of churches was formed. In 1972, the Alaska Missionary Conference became official, and in 2007, the annual conference decided to drop the word missionary from its name as an act of repentance to our Native brothers and sisters. Early missionaries mostly focused on white miners and settlers. Alaska Native people were regarded as uncivilized heathens with no kinship with their Creator. Children were sent to boarding schools and told not to speak their native language. The rush of settlers and their industries exploited the limited natural resources that indigenous peoples relied upon for their subsistence lifestyle. At every turn, they were pressured to adopt the ways of the white man. Alaska Native pastor Charlie Brower.
The missionaries came thinking that their way was really the only way to get to know Christ. That we who were here, who had never heard of Jesus Christ, must be brought around to believing the way the missionaries believed. That we must be doing things the way they knew how.
Unfortunately, I think that a lot of the people that came under the guise of Christianity actually brought a lot of harm. They tried to make it seem like our traditional ceremonies and our language and our culture and our spirituality was bad, but it wasn't.
Today, as the only Indigenous pastor in the conference, Charlie Brower has a unique ministry in the community of Nome, where over 50% of the population are Alaska Natives.
It's important for us to have Native leadership. He's a Native elder, and so he's not just pastor to the church, he's pastor to the community. And so that just breaks that age-old kind of stereotype, that limitation, that blockage that only white people come and bring us the good news. That we all can be bearers of that good news.
Another outreach in Nome was born over 100 years ago when Methodist women founded the Nome Community Center, whose mission is to address the needs of the community through serving elders, families, and youth. Today, it remains a national mission institution. Among the center's many programs is the XYZ Senior Center, which provides hot meals, social interaction, laundry services, transportation, even field trips. Outreach to at-risk youth is especially important. Chris Stepp served here as a US-2 missionary, then stayed to become director of the Boys and Girls Club.
Hey, what's this?
Chris works hard at keeping the kids active, especially in the winter when it's cold and there's not much to do. Many of them have encountered alcoholism, tobacco, and domestic violence, and Chris hopes to set them on a different path.
We're really trying about building sort of safe choices and giving these kids some sort of sense of hope and a safe path to walk down through life.
Another important outreach for youth began over 125 years ago, funded by the Women's Home Missionary Society. The Jesse Lee Home was founded in Unalaska in 1890. Named for an East Coast minister, it provided education, room, and board for children who were orphans or could not live in their homes. After influenza took a heavy toll on the community in 1919, the home was moved to Seward, Alaska. During World War II, the buildings were painted camouflage to protect against airstrikes. A devastating earthquake and tsunami in 1964 forced the Jesse Lee home to move to Anchorage. Its focus began to shift to mental health services, and it merged with Lutheran Youth Services and the Christian Children's Home to form Alaska Children's Services. Today, it's known as Alaska Child and Family and offers treatment programs and foster homes for children who need special assistance.
Our goal is to get every child that we work with back home with their families. Sometimes that means it will be with perhaps a grandparent, or it might be with an aunt or an uncle, but our goal is to get kids back to their own families, and we're pretty successful at that.
But success for the conference itself is an ongoing project. It's difficult to recruit and retain pastors, and adequate funding is always an issue. Travel between congregations is difficult and expensive. Physical isolation, cold winters, and dark days contribute to the highest rates in the nation of suicide and alcohol and substance abuse. High unemployment, poverty, and global warming all create stress. So for the Alaska United Methodist Conference, serving in mission is both inside the church and outside, in the wide open spaces of the communities who are in need.
Bishop Elaine Stanovsky put it well when she said, let's look for where God is already at work in Alaska and find those places and partner with God. I mean, my hope is that we really be authentic to lay down our agendas and really listen to where God is calling us, and to really continue to live out what it means to be in mission in that great place.